Welcome to Taste of Truth Tuesdays, where we'll be serving up bite-sized conversations on all things fitness, nutrition, mindset, and spirituality. So grab your headphones and get ready to taste the truth with us every Tuesday. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform because every bite counts. Hey, welcome to Taste of Truth Tuesdays, where today's topic is mindsets and movements. We'll be comparing law of attraction, high control religions, and diet culture. Have you ever wondered how multi-level marketing companies thrive? Many of them tap into the power of teachings like law of attraction, which convince you that your thoughts create your reality. And that sounds empowering, right? And of course, there are some benefits to these practices, like creating a vision board or writing down your goals or shifting your attitude. Okay, we will be talking about these in other episodes, but here we're talking about how these beliefs can be used to manipulate and create all or nothing thinking. Behind the facade lies a darker truth. MLMs manipulate these beliefs to lure in dreamers, promising wealth and success through their products. So what's the scoop? The law of attraction says that what you focus on, you find. Whether positive vibes or the occasional grumpy thought can actually manifest in your life. It's all about tuning into those good vibrations and sending out positive signals to the universe. So picture this, by visualizing your dreams and practicing gratitude like a pro and keeping that vibe high, you're supposedly paving the way for all those good things to come just knocking at your door. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Just like dodging fad diets or harmful religious practices, there are pitfalls with the law of attraction. And stay tuned as we uncover the highs, lows, and everything in between this cosmic mind game. And we'll share some tips on how to keep your mental mojo balanced, whether you're manifesting your dream job or just trying to stay chill in the chaos. So let's walk that fine line between harnessing the power of our minds and falling into the traps of unrealistic expectations and self-blame. The law of attraction, diet culture, and high control religions can promote all or nothing thinking in several ways. First, the law of attraction philosophy suggests that positive thoughts bring positive outcomes, and negative thoughts bring negative outcomes. And this can lead people to believe that if they're not constantly thinking positively, they're attracting negativity into their lives. This binary thinking ignores the complexity of human emotions and experiences. Diet culture, many promote strict rules and concepts around foods that are good and bad, fostering an all or nothing approach to eating. This can lead to orthorexia or more severe disordered eating behaviors. And someone deviates from this diet slightly, they'll feel like they failed completely. And this can contribute to negative relationships with the body image as well. We'll talk about that in future episodes. 3, high control religions will enforce rigid rules and beliefs, presenting, let's say, like more of a stark contrast between righteousness and sin. Followers may feel intense pressure to adhere perfectly to these standards, fearing severe consequences for any perceived transgression. And so this black and white thinking is what we've been talking about the last couple weeks. It creates feelings of guilt, shame, or inadequacy. And in each case, the emphasis on absolutes and extremes discourages nuanced thinking and self-compassion, and that is the name of the game this season. We're pointing out beliefs, behaviors, mindsets, movements that can lead individuals to judge themselves harshly for perceived failures and to feel like they must constantly strive for unattainable ideals. And this mindset is very damaging to mental health and well-being. I know because I've been on these hamster wheels, it feels like for my entire life. In my journey of deconstruction, I've been pondering how belief systems like the law of attraction, which I was really into before I was converted into a high control religion, and how diet culture wield their influence. Each of these ideologies promise transformative change through strict adherence to their principles, whether it's manifesting positivity or spiritual purity or a perfect body. But here's the kicker. They all share several common threads, and that's what we're about to unpack. We're going to be covering 5 common threads that I found between all 3 of these mindsets or movements. So belief in control and manifestation, promises of transformation, blaming the individual for failure, emphasis on discipline and compliance, and 5, commercialization and profit. And so while the specific goals vary between the law of attraction, high control religions, and diet culture, they definitely share fundamental similarities in their mechanisms of belief, control, and promises of transformation and the impact that you have on your life if you stick to their principles. There are similarities in their harmful effects too. I think the biggest commonality is unrealistic expectations. So with the law of attraction, those promises that your positive thinking will manifest any desire. You can think about more money. You can think about your business growing, your perfect client, that perfect parking spot. This leads to unrealistic expectations about what can be achieved without effort or acknowledging any external factors. It's also very much leans towards privilege. Like you must have a lot of privilege if you think that you can just, wiggle your nose and good things happen to you. Diet culture promotes the idea that a perfect body is achievable at all through strict adherence to specific diets or regimens or ignoring your genetic, your physiological, and your lifestyle differences. This is such an issue we see with Instagram, TikTok, fit influencers who are promoting their programs, their products off of how they look, which is so easy. I used to fall for that. I would look at a coach and see how they looked and then hire them just because of how they looked. Even me, with all the knowledge and expertise and backgrounds I had, we can all fall for this. It's like I'm talking to my old self, past self with every single episode, and I just hope other people out there can relate. High control religion claims these absolute truths, and moral perfection can create this unattainable standard for behavior and belief, often leading to feelings of inadequacy or failure when an individual falls short. And I talk a lot about this on my Instagram in regards to the biblical counseling experiences that I had. And we have a future episode coming up that will talk much more about these things. So these unrealistic expectations will ultimately lead to self-blame and guilt, which is the second harmful impact that all 3 of these share. Whether it's because you believe that any failure to achieve your desires is just due to your stinking thinking, and you're going to blame yourself for that, or with diet culture, you will feel guilt and shame because you can't maintain that prescribed diet plan, you ate something wrong, or you can't achieve that desired body image. And that was for me. I couldn't look a way that I wanted to. I couldn't change my genetic body shape and look a way that the Instagram or social media or the magazines were telling me to. And you'll feel blame, like, oh, you just don't have enough willpower or you don't have enough discipline. And in high control religion, there's those strict moral codes and doctrines, and any deviation from those is seen as a personal failure or sin. You're sinning, and that will lead to a lot of guilt and self-condemnation, and a concept we've spoken of in a previous episode with Dr. Mark, religious scrupulosity, it's hard to say. And we will have more on that in a future episode as well. So why I have fallen for all 3 of these is because they all thrive on emotional manipulation. Law of attraction will exploit the vulnerability by selling the idea that happiness and success are just a thought away, leading to this financial exploitation of self-help products and courses. And in diet culture, we'll see that to sell products like shakes and cleanses and pills, diets, fitness programs, and preying on the insecurities like, hey, I got the solution for you. You do this workout and you'll have the body of your dreams. That will put those pressures of this body image and the societal standards on beauty. And in high control religion, we'll see them manipulating emotions by promising eternal rewards or threatening eternal punishment, using fear and hope to control behavior and beliefs, or the suppression of emotions in general, or the denying of your doubts and a lot of cognitive dissonance. And that leads us into that avoidance of complex realities. Law of attraction, diet culture, high control religion, they all want to simplify complex life issues by attributing outcomes solely to your individual thought, ignoring systemic, social, or external factors. Or diet culture will overlook the complexities of human biology and metabolism, mental health by promoting this one-size-fits-all solution to weight, health, fitness, results. And high control religion, same thing, It's part of the human condition to have existential questions and to discourage critical thinking and discourage exploration of diverse perspectives is criminal. And lastly, I want to talk about how all three of these beliefs promote perfectionism. Law of attraction. If you think perfect thoughts, you'll have a perfect life. And that again is leading us to these unrealistic ideals. Diet culture, ideal body type by eat this way will lead to obsessive behaviors and unrealistic relationships with the food and self-image. High control religion. Push for that moral and spiritual perfection. We're, sanctification, whether you believe it was, monergistic, as in God's in control of it all, or synergistic, meaning I play a part in my sanctification. Either way, there was this pressure to conform, to be like Jesus, who was freaking the perfect Son of God, if you're Christian. Or, even in some of these new age ascended master teachings, it's still a lot of pressure to ride the hamster wheel of spiritualism to strict standards and leading to anxiety or fear of judgment, perhaps. So these mental health concerns that come from these mindsets and these movements, like believing that your thoughts can manifest reality, will lead to disappointment. You'll feel frustrated, self-blame, decreased self-esteem. You may find yourself ignoring reality. If you can think positive thoughts, then maybe you'll find yourself denying real issues or avoiding necessary actions. We might see folks neglecting practical steps or problem-solving strategies, relying solely on mental strategies. And they'll feel like a lot of guilt and blame. They blame themselves for having the wrong or negative thoughts. And this will exacerbate guilt, anxiety, depression. And for folks who have certain mental health conditions like anxiety disorders or OCD, the pressure to control your thoughts can be particularly detrimental. Intrusive thoughts and the fear of potential impact can cause even more intense symptoms. And this all could lead to isolation, which they might feel like, oh my gosh, spiritual practices are misunderstood or they're dismissed by others. So I have to kind of hide that I feel this way. And that lack of support can also lead to negative impact of mental health. So it's a vicious cycle, and we just need to have these conversations so we can help each other point this stuff out, talk about it, and understand it more. These ideologies promise transformative change through strict adherence to their principles, and this promotes that all or nothing thinking. And to break free from this mindset, that's obviously crucial, and we need to foster balanced perspectives and personal growth. And so some practical tips that we can all employ to challenge all or nothing thinking will be just practicing mindfulness. So embracing techniques that help us become aware of our thoughts without judgment. Creating space between my thoughts. Instead of saying, I am depressed, I say, I am feeling depressed. Or I'm being attacked, I say, I am feeling attacked. Just creating this distance helps me be a little bit more objective, not have judgment, and recognize where I might be falling into extremes. Understanding and noticing my self-talk patterns. In the book Dr. Mark wrote, I think he called it Name That Tune was the exercise. So notice words like always and never, like I always get things wrong or I never get anything right. Start to notice some of these thought patterns you may have. We don't want to judge them. We just need to start observing them, because awareness is step one to any behavior change. And so observe them, notice them, and then begin to replace them with sometimes or some more verbiage that's leaning towards progress to try to introduce this concept of flexibility. And here you're challenging assumptions, right? So because you want to be more flexible, you're going to be exploring alternative perspectives and learning how to walk the shades of gray instead of thinking in absolutes. I know this is difficult for all of us, including myself. But hey, here we are learning how to walk in the gray. And we want to figure out, how the heck do we set realistic goals? How do we break down these bigger concepts into smaller steps and celebrate progress and effort along the way? You can call it like the 10% principle. Like, am I getting better 10%? A little bit. just a little bit. That can also help us with avoiding these extremes and learning how to practice self-compassion. I've been reading the work of Kristen Neff. Her book, Fierce Self-Compassion, is incredible. And learning how to be kind to ourselves during setbacks, understanding that growth involves from learning from mistakes is so important. And I'll have more blogs and content and episodes about just the concept of self-compassion in general. We want to seek different opinions. We want to take the time to discuss beliefs with others that we trust, that we feel safe with, but we will need to gain diverse viewpoints and broaden our understanding of the world. Keep a thought journal. Reflect on instances where you fell into some all or nothing thinking. Try to identify the triggers. And this way you can develop alternative interpretations. I am learning in my DBT therapy workbook a concept called REST, which means relax, evaluate, set an intention, and then take action. And that helps with my BPD and my impulsivity. And that's, again, maybe not a thought journal, but again, just something simple like pausing for a moment. Number 9, practice gratitude. So regularly acknowledge small positives that shift focus away from perfectionism. Educate yourself. I want you to learn more about cognitive distortions to empower yourself in challenging and changing these patterns effectively. And I will have lots of resources in the show notes, because I want us to integrate these practices so we can cultivate resilience and just have a more balanced approach to life, moving beyond rigid belief systems towards authenticity and personal well-being. That's all I have for you today, folks. Thanks again for listening. For upcoming episodes, we have a podcast with my friend Jill, the host of one of my favorite podcasts, Opportunity Cost, which is about multi-level marketing schemes or programs. And each episode, she covers their inner workings, origins, nuances, and tries to answer the question, is this really an opportunity of a lifetime, or is it the illusion of one? We'll also talk about why Christian communities are more susceptible to MLMs and some trad wife content stuff that she covers on her page. It's going to be really, really good. We'll be chatting with my new friend, Emma, who is a legal scholar with expertise in legal strategy, legal philosophy, and ethics. She's got a lot of strong moral convictions and talks about pro-choice advocacy. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a feminist, she's an agnostic humanist, and I cannot wait to have her talk about some of the topics she's going to be breaking down. I just had Catherine Spearing from the Uncertain podcast, which is a podcast from the Tears of Eden. And I'm so excited to have her come on, and not sure what topic we're going to touch base on, but I mentioned interviews with Marissa Burt, Carrie Moore, Neil Van Leeuwen in a previous episode. So lots of fantastic conversations coming in season 2. I am so honored and grateful for the folks who are willing to come on to share their expertise. Oh yeah, my friend Jackie said she was willing to come on, and she's a women's fitness and health expert, one of the smartest, friendliest, wonderfulest folks. And I can't wait to have her on. So yeah, and we've got episodes that I'll be bringing back from season 1 with Nicole, that we talked about thyroid and metabolism. So yeah, lots of really good stuff coming up. Until then, maintain your curiosity, embrace skepticism, and keep tuning in. Have a great week.